Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't had any Matrix 4 news for some time. It's been a long time, actually. The last update we had was the rumoured name leak, which is Matrix Resurrections. That's, yep, good. Cool, inspired. But this is good news. Like, this news here that I'm going to start out with is actually really positive. Really, really good news. And then we're going to go into some news which I find funny. Just to sort of pepper it in there. Why not? So this news here, again, very good news. I like this news a lot. And also really interesting in terms of how they're looking to shoot this film. Because it flies in the face of any normal blockbuster. And I'm taking that as a positive rather than a negative. But I can see that people would view it as a negative as well. So let's dive into it. And see what we've got here. So it's Neil Patrick Harris, him saying that basically Lana Wachowski's Matrix 4 shoot felt very intimate. Now, obviously, big blockbusters are not normally like that, not at all. The cast sometimes get, intimate in terms of them working alongside one another and things like that. But he's saying this is pertaining to actually how it was shot. So this is with Variety, and it's kind of like a big interview piece, sort of. It's almost like anecdotal story time for the writer. I don't really understand what it is, but there's an excerpt here, okay? And this is Neil Patrick Harris stating, "It didn't feel large because it felt like she was in her sweet spot, which was filming on the fly. Filming using natural light, which is actually always the best light. It's difficult. It is incredibly difficult, but it is the best light." And then continued on and said, "Sometimes you'd sit around for an hour waiting for the clouds to clear, and then you'd quickly film. You'd film pages at a time in 30 minutes and then be done. You would think that a giant movie would be 100% storyboarded animatics, and we'd be checking off shots. I think she lived that before 3 times over, and I would suspect that she wants to do things her own way now. It wasn't often that you felt that you were doing something gigantic because she made it feel very intimate." So, what can we learn from that, right? The fact that first things first, okay? Natural lighting, great, really, really cool, nice. We'd seen them doing this outside anyway. So this seems to imply that there's a lot of outside shots, which is not a massive surprise. Like, The Matrix had a good balance, I think, of outside shots normally, but to be sat around waiting for the clouds to break and then film basically, solid pages at a time, 30 minutes straight, and then be done is great. Why? Well, it gives good consistency for an actor. They can get in their character quickly, if they can. Anyway, they can get in their character quickly. And then they can stay in the zone for that 30 minutes. It provides a great deal of consistency for characters and characterizations. I think this sounds really good. I like the fact that they're using lots of natural lighting. It is surprising that, she's doing her own thing more so than ever before. Basically going, it's not 100% storyboarded with animatics and things like that. She has the script, which we've seen as well. We've seen leaked images of them just walking around with the script, which again, a lot of people can take it as a negative as well as a positive. I'm going to view this as a positive. I think this is good news. I still think this movie is, like, I don't know, way off base and could be completely who knows. Because let's be honest, the first Matrix is the best, and then they deteriorated in quality. But again, interesting. I think she lived that before 3 times over, and I would suspect that she wants to do things her own way now. It wasn't often that you felt that you were doing something gigantic because she made it feel very intimate. And that's good as well. I think that's good for actors. I think it's good for the overall set and crew. Just working together and gelling really, really nicely. So I think this is positive news. I still think the name is dumb. Matrix Resurrections or Resurrected, whatever it was rumored to be. I think that's super lame. But it will be interesting to see because this is Lana Wachowski shooting by herself. Her sister is not involved in this in any way, shape or form. So this could be something great because they've normally worked together. They've normally always worked together and their films have been middling at best. I'm not a huge fan of them, generally speaking. So it'll be interesting to see what one of them can do by themselves with the John Wick guys on board doing all of the fight choreography and working on all of the action, basically working as second unit director. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how this pans out. Now, this is the really positive news, but in doing this research and putting together some other bits and pieces of news to cover as well, I actually missed this. But this goes hand in hand with the name of this film. Because one of the other actresses who were involved in the previous films has spoken out about how it's basically really, really dumb. And she's salty as hell about it, and I would be too. So one Matrix star seemingly takes issue with the Matrix 4 likely reviving Keanu Reeves. Well, they have. We've seen him. Also being the fact that it's called Resurrected. It just is so dumb. So this is the actress who... honestly, I can't even remember who she played in the films. I'm pretty certain she was someone's wife, I think. I'm going to cop some flack for that, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't remember her. But she's annoyed she's not coming back, basically. So it's Gina Torres who played the role of Kaz in the 2 sequels. So I'm pretty certain she was the wife of like one of the pilots, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this is the quote, and it's a hilarious quote. Not to be bitter or anything, but the people that are actually in the movie, I believe, died. And the people that aren't, didn't. So that's all I have to say about that. I mean, the salt is flowing. But rightfully so, in fairness. Like, rightfully so. I'd be pissed. Lawrence Fishburne's not back. You know, he's not back. Hugo Weaving's not back. You know, granted he died, but he could easily come back. And if you're reviving Keanu Reeves, why wouldn't you bring Hugo Weaving back? So super dumb, really. And there's also rumours that Lawrence Fishburne is going to be played by... there's going to be a young version of him played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. The second, whatever you want to call him. And again, just bring Lawrence Fishburne back. He's great. Bring him back. What are you doing? So rightfully so, she's salty. I'm so curious about where they're going off with this. And what's their jumping off point. And what story they want. Because it just felt like they told it. It's basically saying, why are you bringing people back? The people that are alive are not in it. And the people that are dead are back. What are you doing? You told a story. What's going on? And I think that's how a lot of people feel, actually. It's how I feel, because I'm very confused with where they're going to go with this. Granted, if any movie franchise can have a reboot, it's The Matrix. Quite literally, it's inbuilt into the story. But it doesn't feel like they're rebooting it. They're just continuing it. And that's sad. So, yeah. You could continue it with a reboot and be smart, but they're not. They're continuing it whilst not rebooting it and being dumb by just reviving characters. But hey, I still wait with bated breath. I wait to see how this comes out. So let me know your thoughts on all of this news down below in the comment section. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. Also, guys, a lot of people are watching without being subscribed, so subscribe. It's for free and you can unsub whenever you want. But also, guys, if you don't get notifications, please turn the bell icon, click it, and then click to notify all, because YouTube will only push so much, and then if you don't click on the videos when they're recommended to you, it will just disappear a channel from your recommended. That's how YouTube works. It's super pain in the ass. Even if you're subscribed, like that's how YouTube does it. It's pain in the ass. But anyway, whatever. Cheers. Take care.